Dubai tournament director calls for harsher punishment after late Sabalenka and Swiatek withdrawals. The Dubai Tennis Championships tournament director has claimed that players should be docked ranking points for late withdrawals from an event, following Aryna Sabalenka and Iga Swiatek's decision to miss the second WTA 1000 event of 2026. World number 1 Sabalenka and world number 2 Swiatek both confirmed on Friday that they would not be in action in Dubai, with their withdrawals coming just 1 day before the draw was made and 2 days before the start of the tournament. Four-time Grand Slam champion Sabalenka's withdrawal reason was cited as a hip injury, with the Belarusian also not in action at the Qatar Open this week. Meanwhile, six-time Grand Slam champion Swiatek has withdrawn due to a change of schedule, coming after her quarter-final defeat to Maria Sakkari in Doha. Both Sabalenka and Swiatek have previously suggested that they would skip a handful of WTA 1000 events in 2026, with several players across both the women's and men's game critical of the tennis calendar. Leading WTA players are expected to contest all 10 WTA 1000 events on the calendar, alongside the 4 Grand Slam tournaments and 6 WTA 500 level events. The official WTA rulebook claims that players can face fines should they withdraw from mandatory events, while players are often awarded 0 pointers on their WTA ranking if they do not fulfill mandatory requirements. In quotes reported by The National, Dubai tournament director Sulla Talik has called into question whether the current rules go far enough to prevent late withdrawals. He said, "It was an unfortunate surprise, on Friday, to get news of the withdrawal of Aryna and Iga. And the reasons for withdrawal were a bit strange. Iga said she wasn't mentally ready to compete, while Sabalenka said she has some minor injuries. So I don't know. I think there should be a harsher punishment on the players for withdrawing, not just fines. They should be docked ranking points. I even asked the tournament doctor, what is the injury? He said it's a minor injury, not one that would force her to withdraw from the tournament. And for Iga, I asked, isn't this a strange decision? Fines have been issued in the past, but with the leading players in the sport regularly making millions of dollars in prize money each season, Talik has suggested that ranking points penalties would provide a more significant deterrent. I think a fine will not do anything, he added. I feel they should deduct points from the players. A monetary fine won't help. Many years ago, Serena Williams withdrew and was fined $100,000. But what is $100,000? She would play someplace else and make $1 million. So the fine isn't a big deal. We have a meeting coming up in Rome, and I want to shed light on this issue. We have a representative on behalf of the international group of tournaments to speak for us with the WTA. Because it's a shame that we're spending these huge amounts to upgrade our facilities, and in the end, the players are the main part. In the absence of both Sabalenka and Swiatek, world number 1 and Australian Open champion Elena Rybakina is the top seed in the draw, with world number 4 Amanda Anisimova seeded second. Sabalenka and Swiatek are both likely to return to action in Indian Wells, the third WTA 1000 tournament of the year. Action in Tennis Paradise begins in early March, with Sabalenka a 2-time finalist at the event and Swiatek being a 2-time former champion. Want more from Tennis 365? Add us as a preferred source on Google to your favorites list for tennis coverage you can trust. Read next. WTA Dubai draw. Rybakina number 1 seed, Goff, Raducanu, Ila all in top half. Tennis, tension and tough choices. The Dubai debate. Professional tennis, the pulsating global sport filled with grace, grit, and grind, is often celebrated for its stars, from the thunderous serves to the strategic baseline rallies. Yet sometimes, the headlines aren't about the points scored or the trophies won but about the policies that govern the sport itself. The 2026 Dubai Tennis Championships has become one such moment, not for awe-inspiring rallies, but for a debate about commitment, scheduling, and fairness. At the center of this controversy were two of the biggest names in the women's game, Aryna Sabalenka and Iga Swiatek, both reigning among the top players globally. The world number 1 and number 2, respectively, confirmed their withdrawals from the prestigious WTA 1000 event just days before it was due to begin. Their decisions set off a firestorm of discussion about obligations, workload, and the structure of the tour. But it wasn't just their absence that made headlines, it was the reaction from the tournament's leadership that ignited fresh debate. Late withdrawals, early furor. Withdrawal announcements are not uncommon in professional tennis. Injuries, illness, and personal reasons often force players out of competitions. However, the timing and context of Sabalenka and Swiatek's decisions raised eyebrows. Both players revealed their choices shortly before the draw, with Sabalenka citing a hip issue and not feeling fully fit, and Swiatek explaining a change in schedule following her run in the Qatar Open. For event organizers and many fans, the proximity of these announcements to the tournament's start was seen as disruptive, threatening to dull the spark of one of the WTA's most anticipated early-season events. In response, Dubai Tennis Championships tournament director Sulla Talik publicly questioned not only the reasons for the withdrawals but also how the current regulatory framework handles such cases. Unfortunate, strange, and unwanted surprises were among his characterizations of the decision, hinting at a deeper frustration shared by many event hosts. Calling for tougher sanctions. The crux of the controversy came when Talik suggested that the existing penalties, generally fines and, at times, 0 ranking points, were inadequate to deter late withdrawals, particularly by the sport's highest-profile players. Instead, he proposed a more severe measure, the deduction of ranking points from those who pull out at the last minute. In his words, fines are simply not enough, especially given the immense earnings of elite athletes. A $100,000 penalty, he argued, may be negligible to someone who earns far more than that in a single match or endorsement contract. Ranking points, by contrast, hit directly at a player's competitive currency, impacting seedings, year-end standing, and, theoretically, their legacy. Talik's stance is not merely reactive, it reflects a deeper concern about respect for tournaments and an appeal to align player incentives with the sport's broader interests. For many tournaments, securing top players is part of the economic engine that drives sponsorship, ticket sales, broadcast interest, and local prestige. When marquee competitors withdraw late, it can erode confidence in the event and diminish the overall spectacle. Beyond the headlines, player welfare and scheduling woes. Yet, the argument is far from one-sided. The professional tennis calendar is notoriously demanding, and athletes often find themselves in a precarious balancing act between physical well-being and competitive obligations. Top players like Sabalenka and Swiatek aren't just athletes. They are independent contractors navigating a punishing schedule of mandatory events, ranking point requirements, travel, training, and personal health. The WTA rulebook expects players to contest a certain number of tournaments.